Super Dave here with another review. Super Dave here, and I have another exciting review, this time Thundercats. There's been some mixed reviews on this set. We're going to look at both Mandora and her Electro-Charger. She is a Evil Chaser Class 1 from the Inter-Planetary Force. And I was one of those, like many others, weren't so sure. I mean, like Super 7, why aren't we getting Snarf or the Thunder Kittens before this? But she's cool, I believe. We're going to check her out. And she certainly made it in some episodes. So that's right. Mandora, as well as the Electro-Charger. Look how big that box is. So let's go ahead and open these out of their shipper boxes like this. And first of all, check out our Mandora. There's that Thundercats logo because she was a good guy. Thundercats logo name there, and there she is. All right. 3 different head sculpts, a lot of goodies. And there's that artwork of Mandora. And there's that bio card. If you'd like to read that, you can now. All right. And Mandora is just not the same without her vehicle, her Electro-Charger. And there it is there. There's some cool artwork on the side of that cool Electro-Charger with her riding it. Same thing on that side. And then on the back, some more product shots as well as some of the characteristics that we're going to find the Electro-Charger able to do on the back there. So without further ado, let's head on over here to Third Earth, all the Thundercats, and check out Mandora and her ride. Cool. Come on, let's check them out. And here we are on Third Earth. He-Man is arriving. So has Man-at-Arms and Teela. The Snow Knight has arrived. And then, of course, the Thundercats, as we're going to take a look at Mandora's accessories. And first, looking at Mandora's hands, she comes with a set here with like a trigger finger hand, as well as a weapon holding hand for the left hand there. And she did come with a right-handed weapon holding hand, but it popped somewhere into this room and I cannot find where it flew. So hopefully we'll find that. Also, some open palm grappling type hand. She also comes with another grappling hand that is vertically hinged so that she can hold that boomerang and get some action with that, as well as a pointer finger hand on the right there, and then a thumbs up hand. Then she comes equipped with some tightly fisted, balled up fisted hands there, and then 3 head sculpts. One where the visor has like a targeted system engaged with the ponytail swooping to the right and her gritting teeth look, and then she has a head sculpt with the visor more just a line over her eyes with the ponytail relaxed with a solemn face, and then possibly a little bit of a smirk on that face, but it looks very similar to the other one, but it has also the plain line across the visor, computerized system I guess there, then with the ponytail swooping to the left in action there. And that's the only difference really on these heads, is the ponytail swooping a different direction. Alright, she also comes with these handy dandy handcuffs with a metal chain with plastic cuffs. She comes with her handy dandy boomerang, as well as her boomerang with the action effects swooping off to the side of it there. And then she has a walkie-talkie communicator, her ticket making machine there, as well as her little identification wallet of Mandora's head there and her info, a little badge, or it could, you know, you could pretend that it's a foldable cell phone maybe.
Evil Chaser First Class Mandora. Inter-Planetary Control Force.
Where she's showing her identification, and it's not hinged, but it is kind of folded, and on the other side of it, it does have the Interplanetary Force logo on the back of it, and so that is a cool little accessory. Moving on to the Electro-Charger. The Electro-Charger comes with this antenna that we'll be attaching, as well as her weapon actually goes with her, but is stored in the Electro-Charger. Her enzyme catalyzer, which some call also a soap gun. Let's see what that's all about.
Stop her before she gets to the enzyme catalyzer.
All right.
And then there is an effect that'll plug into that enzyme catalyzer so that it can squirt out this material, if that's soap or whatever. And then two magnetic control panels, one that has the actual controls in there, which are cartoon accurate, and then one that's more like a screen. And I've had the same issue some others have had, where the magnets came loose. I had to super glue those magnets back into the back of those. And then of course we're gonna have a look at the Electro-Charger itself. Mandora. So now let's equip everything onto our Electro-Charger and check it out. Alright, first of all we're gonna equip the antenna, which will slide in the back of this little red section right here. So let's go ahead and pop that down in there. And then to equip the little control panels, they'll snap right in there with the magnets, as you can see. That's cool because it looks cartoon accurate there. Then you just snap that one out of there, and then put in the little screen one there. That looks cool, like a little radar. So that's cool. You get the choice there of whichever one you want to put in. I'm going to put in the one with the controls. I like the one with the controls. There we go. Looks cool. Then here's a little doorway that you could put in your boomerangs, or the enzyme catalyzer, or her handcuffs, or her walkie-talkie, or whatever that you would like to put down inside of there. You could certainly store them there. So I used a little tacky and actually put the little walkie-talkie that she came with right here on this little blank spot right here. I will mention that these move just slightly, but it doesn't turn any wheels or anything. It's got some nice little detail, like the engine and the exhaust pipes, real, extreme here. Has, of course, those front lights here on the front with a little bit of a yellow and goldish color here and here, and this is molded on, as well as this is molded in right here, like the exhaust on the front, and then the little silver, and then this right here is molded in and then painted on. And then of course got like some more exhaust looking, maybe some lights here, then a little light, transparent light here. This right here is like a little place where I guess you could store something, but I'd be afraid that it might fall through, because on the bottom you have another, once you remove the stand here that it comes with this nice stand to kind of display, you have another feature, has almost like a battery compartment underneath here, but it's not for batteries, it's for the tires. If you open up this part here and then push, it's going to pop out that rubbery, it's a plastic rubbery type tire right there. And then you do the same here. You open up this section and you just pinch there and pull it out, and you have the tires so that it can roll. Yes, it will sit and roll, and you can do that. Look at that in just a moment when we equip our Mandora. But if you do not want to use those, you can push those back in place. And when you put this down to roll it, it may sit by itself or it may tip over just a little bit off the wheels. So if you want to stabilize it even further, you have a little kickstand that will allow it to stabilize while the wheels are sitting alone, especially if you put figures on it. That will help tremendously. I will say that these are really neat designed seats here, good size seats, but they are not textured. They're just painted black plastic. It would have been neat if these had been a little soft. That would have been cool touch for some rubber, kind of like they put on the wheels. A little bit of a rubbery plastic on those wheels there. And then of course a little back here. But that's about it. Of course, you got the transparent windshield, and all of this was fully assembled except for the stand, of course, and that's optional. And you see how it looks on the bottom. Put that kickstand back in here. And you wouldn't necessarily have to put those tires, once you put those tires back in, you wouldn't necessarily have to put those plates back on here unless you would want to, because you're not going to see those anyway. It almost leads me to believe that maybe there was some plans to have done some battery originally, which that would have been neat to have had some lights on this guy. But there it looks, they're coming towards you to the side. There it looks going away from you. Let me close that door here. And it's just really cool. So we'll do some comparisons of some of the other Motu vehicles in just a moment. But first, let's go ahead and check out Mandora over here, who's already trying out the enzyme catalyzer and then put her on her electrocharger. And here is Mandora holding her enzyme catalyzer, getting ready to shoot someone, clean up evil on Third Earth, and they may even visit Eternia. And because this is interesting note about Mandora is she is a human, so that is interesting. All right, let's go ahead and plug this in, so show you how this effect works. Plugs right in, and now she can squirt down someone, or maybe even wash her electrocharger. Oh, it's a sunny day, and I am going to wash my electrocharger. She's kind of robotic almost sometimes. I thought, shh. Shh. Hey, Chitara, run fetch me some warm water. Shh. And since the enzyme catalyzer came with the electrocharger, let's go ahead and open this up, show you that you can store that down in there. Just kind of just carry that down in there, fits great. You can also store the boomerang down in there. You can pretty much store all of her stuff down in there. Then it's just going to have to be a matter of digging it out. But that is really cool. All right, I'm going to go ahead and show you now how you can equip her hands and bring out something about these hands. Before we do articulation, I'll just do this final equipping. These have the tiniest little pegs that peg into the hole, and in some of these the peg bent before the hinge bent. I mean, it feels like these are very flimsy. Matter of fact, I will say that Mandora in general feels a little on the flimsy side compared to all the other Thundercats we've ever gotten from them. I'm a little disappointed in that, how brittle and kind of flimsy she feels. But I do like this vertical hinged hand that she came with, so you could certainly take that whooshing looking one and put it in her hand and get some action going on there with that boomerang with the swishing looking effect on it. That's cool looking. And then this other boomerang you can store in her pouch here.
Like that? You look
like almost like a gun. But see, she really didn't have guns. She was less violent. You know, she has the soap gun and she has boomerangs, trying to re-emphasize a less violent type law enforcement, even in the 80s there. But there she is, really cool. And of course, she can also hold things like her badge identifier here, which is cool, or her ticket recording or printing little device. I am writing you a ticket for speeding on 3rd Earth. You need to slow down, sir. Or her handcuffs. Don't make me come after you and have to use these on you. Obey the law. And now let's take a look at Mandora's articulation. Alright, bringing Mandora in a little closer here. Let's first look at her head articulation. She's going to be able to look up just very slightly. She'll be able to look down a good amount. She does get a good amount of pivot, and of course side to side. So not too bad. Not the best as far as looking up. And unfortunately, you don't really get any diaphragm. You don't really get the crunch forward. I mean, it wiggles a little bit, and you can turn it from side to side, but you really don't get a shift downward very well with that diaphragm under her bosom either. But let's go ahead and look at the arms first. You are going to be able to get 360. This is soft plastic, getting out of the way there. She does have bicep swivel up in there. She'll be able to strike better than 90 degrees. She also has elbow, hinge, and swivel. No double elbow, but it will swivel and hinge there. And I was sharing with you earlier, no gauntlet here, but you do have swivel and hinge at the wrists. And while we're here, I will mention a couple of things. First of all, not only are the wrist pegs flimsy, but this ponytail feels like that if you moved it too much, it would break off, very flimsy feeling. Even these little places here, this is fairly soft, but I'm just worried about everything. Even this mouth plastic looks very cheap, like something you'd see from Rose's or Dollar General, not, you know, a $58 action figure. Very disappointed in some of the feel of these. Now, this has like a lamination type clothing on. It feels like there's a rubber clothing over this top layer. Maybe even here a little bit. But you don't get really the side to side, and you do not get a swift or turn there. I can't even feel one up underneath there like we have seen with the Masterverse figures recently, where even if they have a skirt or a dress over, you can still turn the diaphragm on the inside. Again, you can at the bosom, but you can't at the waist here. No waist swivel is what I'm saying. But also, you know, just of course this side of the arms get the same articulation, but they have sleeves instead of bare arms over here. While we're here, I will show you this too. Pop that head off and show you this. Now, I chose to do this. You don't have to, but notice this picture here where she sometimes does not have the little covering shawl and collar here. Sometimes it's like this. Now, there is just a tad of glue up in here that attaches to a little tab right there. I cut that tab off and broke the glue so that I could take mine off and have her look like she did in the cartoon. And I'm going to paint that little piece right there, so you'll have that option. And that is up to you if you would like to do that. Putting that right back on there, when you put it down flush, you don't even see where you broke the tab or cut the tab there. You don't even have to break the tab. It just kind of points out over there over the skin if you don't. But as I said, this side has the same articulation, bicep swivel, everything's tight and feels good. On that, again, just the flimsiness of it. Just like, for instance, this holster is glued on, but it feels like it could be popped right off or fall off very easily. If it's pegged in, I'm not going to pull on it and test it because it just feels like it could break off very easily. So you're going to have to be very careful with this figure. And I know these technically are not toys, but you still want to be able to pose them around and also hope that they would survive a fall off the shelf. I mean, let's be real, that happens to the best of us, especially if you photograph your action figures. All right, she gets full splits, and you can see the style of ball joint up in there. No thigh cut, but you can get a plenty plenty of rotation out of that leg like that. She's going to be able to go up a fairly decent amount there. Single jointed knees that only get that amount, not even 90 degrees, but there is swivel at the knee. She's going to get full tiptoes, go up a good amount, and generous ankle rockers with that boot, high heel style boot with a peg hole in the bottom of that leg. And this side has the same articulation, no boot cut on these, but you have that knee cut as I mentioned, so you can technically kind of simulate the boot turning there because of the knee turning as we mentioned there. All right, that's about it for articulation. And so not necessarily dynamic articulation or super articulation, and but overall still, you know, functional. It would have been neat even if this, you know, ponytail had been a little bit more dynamic and quality, so that you could pose that around, and that would have eliminated the need to have gotten a head that basically has the same face, maybe even an unhelmeted head or something like that, which we never really saw, I don't believe, in the cartoon. But anyway, kind of a flat matte plastic up here and some shine in some parts of it, almost a satin as you can see under these lights, but not too shiny like we've seen in times past. Just some spots here where it's almost like the oil on the plastic is kind of shinier than other places. Very, very cheap looking plastic on the skin, as I mentioned, both on the face and the arms. Quality plastic there on that shawl, and even that little wrap here that comes over this side. So she definitely gets the look. She has the look of the cartoon action figure, but just feel like they could have done a little better job with quality. All right, let's go ahead and now equip, or I should say have her ride her Electro-Charger, and put her on that right quick. And here is Mandora riding her Electro-Charger and looking great. Now I will say I wish there had been a more of a clear designated place to put her feet, but she sits fine on it. It just takes a few minutes to figure out, okay, where am I going to put her feet? You can't really put them up in here without it being weird, or down in there, and then these big exhausts kind of get in the way. They really don't look good up here. One of the pictures from the cartoon I saw where Lion-O kind of looks like he had his feet up here on this side piece. I will mention while this is going around, this is a very brittle plastic too. I can see this falling and breaking. Just have to be very careful. You would think for, you know, almost a $200 set that the quality would be just a little better, but it just looks like it could break very easily. So be very careful with this if you have it. And but you see that she gets on there very well. Looks cool, looks very good, looks very cool. And I just noticed that I must have popped out her controls on her control panel, so let me go ahead and put that back in there. That magnet will clip right down in there, get those controls down in there. All right, but you see how good she's looking there. So let's go ahead and get her a companion. There you see those controls down in there again. But let's go ahead and get her a companion ride, just like in this picture there. Lion-O takes a ride with her. So let's go ahead and try that out. And there is Lion-O jumping on for a ride as well. And I do believe you could even get Snarf back there like in the picture. I don't know. Probably not. But anyway, I'm just saying there's a pretty good amount of room. You can kind of mount Mandora so that if you turn upside down, she would stay on pretty good, but Lion-O is just barely on there. You'd have to really figure out a way to anchor him. I mean, I don't really think there is a way to anchor him unless you strap some kind of straps around him or something. But because if you started flying him around and messing with it, he's going to come off very easily compared to her, because she's able to hold on to the handlebars very well. And she's looking good on there. Really cool. And now let's do some comparisons. And here's Mandora with Season 1 Thundercats. And here is Mandora with Season 2 Thundercats. And here she is with all the Thundercats with the Electro-Charger. Looking awesome. Alright, to compare the Electro-Charger to the Wind Raider, the Masters of the Universe Classics Wind Raider. Of course, that's the Masterverse 40th anniversary He-Man riding it. But you can see the size difference. Yes, the Masters of the Universe Classics Wind Raider is much bigger. And I will say a greater and higher quality too. But both have really neat control panels and molded in details, and both look great. But there you have an idea of how they look side by side. And here's Teela coming in hot in the jet sled alongside. Here is Mandora coming in with the Electro-Charger, so you can see that they're fairly close in size. But there again, the Classics by Mattel jet sled here is a greater quality and build in plastic, just the feel of it and just the overall heft of it, I would say. But both are coming in looking really cool. And for one final comparison, here's Mandora and the Electro-Charger next to the Talon Fighter. Man-at-Arms is checking everything out about it, making sure everything's working in proper condition. And Mandora hovers by and has a chat with Man-at-Arms here, Duncan. And here's Duncan taking off, hovering himself up above, getting ready to check out how fast this Electro-Charger is, because all of us know the Talon Fighter is infinitely faster than any vehicle. It can go even teleport through time and space. It's just amazing. Talon Fighter is like a magical vehicle with a mind of its own. But there they are next to each other. The Talon Fighter is much bigger, of course, but looking awesome together. Alright, there we go with the comparisons. I think I've covered just about everything on here about this set, and I think she's really cool, but we are going to do some photos. But thank you so much for joining us for this Thundercats review by Super 7. This figure by Super 7. I mean, it's been a lot of fun to review her, and I am looking forward to kind of put her alongside these in some pictures. So let's do that now. But like if you've enjoyed this, subscribe if you've not done so, come back and see us again, and also comment if you have something to share, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time for another Super Dave review. Enjoy these photos in the photo gallery. Be blessed.